Welcome back, you lovely bunch. Thanks for tuning in again. Hope you're all doing good. Good. It's been so long since I made a video, I can't even do my own intro. Look though, I've got a box full of awesome upgrades from the lovely guys at Yo-Yo. So these are actually for my gravel bike. So I've got some bars, a stem. I've got a few upgrades actually for my R12. So these are the H25 bars and then the ST1 stem. And these are their gravel bars. They're full carbon. So they've got a really nice flare, as you can see. I like that on a pair of gravel bars. And they've got a very shallow drop, which is really nice because I don't really want to have to like reach down far. It's not the same as riding a road bike. And then the stem, look at it, it's well clean. So a really cool feature with these bars is, as you can see here, you see this? So they do allow for full internal cable routing. So you get like some spacers with this. So essentially you can put your brakes on and your shifters, and then you can route all your cables like under here, down this like brake track. Then they go through here into the stem here. And then they'd go from here into the spacers, they would then go into your frame, and then you'd have fully integrated cables, it'd be all nice and clean. My Headlands doesn't actually allow for this because it doesn't have internal cable routing, it's got external cable routing still. So I'll just be using the brake tracks and I'll be ignoring this bit. Carbon upgrades. And people did say, so I did get a message saying, oh, go buy a full face helmet if you're getting some like carbon bars from China. And then someone else asked about like the flex, and like, yeah, honestly, these things are stiff as hell. I'm not like a lightweight, weenie cyclist. I don't weigh 62 kilos, but I'm not like 100 kilos. I'm about like 80 kilos at the moment. And I sprint at about 1400 watts. And I use the fully integrated Yo-Yo bars on my road bike. And I've never had an issue with like flex or feeling like they're weak or they're gonna snap. So for anyone that's thinking like Chinese bars, carbon, really weak. Jesus Christ, they're so stiff. Ooh. Yeah, I mean like, no, they're just not moving. They're like solid as. Like, look at this. I'm actually trying to snap them for the record, because like when I sprint, you know, you really push in and you're really going for it. And the last thing you want is a bar snapping, you know, and especially if you're going down gravel, it's going to get like battered. So carbon is just strong, you know, so anyone that thinks the carbon's going to break and it's going to be all weak, it's not as weak as you think. But one of the downsides to carbon is when you crash, it could crack and you might not notice, and that can weaken like the integral structure of the bars, and then you can be riding and it will just like explode. Whereas with an aluminium bar, so if you crash, it doesn't really bend, it just cracks and snaps, and you'll notice straight away that it's gone floppy. So if you are riding carbon parts, it is really, really important like to keep an eye on them, because cracks might appear. So if I did crash on these and the bars took a really big whack, I would have to untape them and have a little inspection to see if there wasn't any like damage, you know. And then again, the thing with carbon is it might be internal, and the only way you can see that is with like an ultrasound scanner or something. So there are some downsides to carbon, but anyway, we've got other stuff in the box and I want to know what else is in the box. Oh, here we go. Upgraded seat post. It's got this nice like rough finish on there to stop it slipping, so it's nice and secure. Do you know what? I think they've actually just sent me a bunch of spares. I've got a pair of through axles for it. What else do I have? Oh, look, this rubber thing. So I didn't actually have one of these. This is a little rubber thing that you put over the seat post, like here. It sits like that and it goes in the frame, and that keeps all the gunk and dirt out of your frame. And they've also updated this. This is like the bung that holds the seat post in and everything, but they've actually moved the Allen key slightly further back, I believe, so it doesn't hit the frame as much when you're adjusting your seat post. So with the R12, the frame is a really nice frame. I don't think they've made a lot of changes to the actual frame, but what they have done is they've made a load of like quality of life changes, let's call them. So everything's just a bit more refined, and I like that. New headset bearings, always super handy. These are the bits that go with the stem. So when you are actually putting all your stem and stuff together, you get all these little bits, and these like are what you thread your cables through, and this is what hides. I've got no idea how this all goes together, by the way. They're all like nice, they slot together. They're very like, actually, let me see. Which way am I going? Oh, that way. See, so you get that way. And they just slot together really easily, really simply. Your cables go through the holes, I believe, at the front there, and then you have this part that goes on top of your headset. And I do believe that this actually fits on a lot of bikes. It's not only exclusive to a Yo-Yo. So if you do use a bike made by a different brand, I'm not sure which ones, you would have to check on their website. So you can internally route all your cables through the handlebars and the stem using their like little special hop-up kit thing. But yeah, really cool stuff, right? I won't be using this today. We're just gonna be installing the bars and then putting some of the road stuff on my road bike. So I'm gonna chuck the gravel bike in the stand, and we're gonna quickly chuck on some of these bits. Right, let's go. Right, so bars are all off. God, these feel so heavy compared to the new ones. I do actually really want to weigh these real quick, so bear with me. Right, well that wasn't a surprise. These are like 160 grams lighter than these. So these are like 556 grams, and then these were like 360 something. I can't remember. I've got like the worst memory ever. And also I think this stem is a lot shallower, you know? I mean, that's a lot of steerer to be having out there. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned, these do come in a fully integrated version. I like having that adjustment here, so I can actually choose the angle of my bar, so this is why I went for this version instead. But they are available as an integrated bar set. Right, I suppose we should put them on really. I think there is actually a bit more of like an aggressive drop on these than my old bars. So do you know what? I'm going to put like an extra 5mm underneath. Do you know what I'm going to have to do? I've got too much steerer showing and it's going to really annoy me. But that looks clean, right? But obviously these bars need to point more up. It is quite an aggressive drop, you know. I don't know whether to go like full racy and just chop my steerer down. Joe, I think we should. I think I might, you know. I don't like this large gap. Do you know what I prefer? So I think it's going to be too aggressive for my back. I'm having a whole dilemma here. Like, can you see this? I think with the spacer underneath, I don't think it looks as clean, right? And I know it's not just aesthetics, but I think like the slam stem, I mean, look at it. It just looks nice, right? Either way, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to have to chop off some of this steerer because it's just too long. So give me a second. I'm going to take this down to the garage, give it a quick chop, and we'll have a bit more of a flush fitment up here. So bear with me. Let's do some magic. Actually, I'm back. Do you know what I've noticed? So you see here, I don't know if I can show you this, it's like rounded at the bottom. So when this sits on the bars here, there's actually a really small gap. So I think I do actually need a spacer on for this to sit like really flush. So, that's a tight squeeze. Yeah, so I think I'm going to chop it off here and we're just going to fully commit to the nearly slammed bar setup. I'm going to mark it and then we're going to chop it, so bear with me. You know that whole like, I'll do this really quickly, it's not going to take long, it's just a quick job. and then well yeah, and then you're cutting down steerer tubes, re-greasing all your bearings. I mean, I figured because my fork's out, I mean, I might as well grease the headset, right? Fingers crossed, I've cut the fork down to the right length and I haven't actually cut it too short. Do you know what, I don't think I've cut it down enough. I think I actually need to cut it down a tiny bit more. Oh, that's really annoying. I might just get a bit of sandpaper and sand it down. I'd rather not cut enough off than cut too much off. So we're going to sand this down a little bit. I'm going to take a tiny bit off and then we should be good to go. So that's the steerer all fold down. I mean, that is a really aggressive setup. Eek. Fingers crossed my back is up to this. Because, well, there's no going back, is there? Now I've cut it down. Look, I'm being good. See, even using a torque wrench to the required spec. Is that too much of an aggressive drop? Oh, I love it. I think it looks wicked. I think like it's nice to have like a racier gravel bike and then like a more fun gravel bike. You know, but what I do want to do is I want to put the 30mm new Goodyear Eagle F1 tyres on this and I'm going to go pin some hills because I want to know, is this bike faster than my road bike down a hill? We'll see. Anyway, let's get this finished off. This has taken me so much longer than I expected. It's because I had to cut my steerer down and I spent ages fiddling with it, and then once I've got it all set up, I've got the bars taped, then my camera died, and then I realised that there's a bit of play in my headset because the steerer is not actually short enough yet, so I do need to sand it down a tiny bit more. So this bike is what I'd call YouTube ready. It's ready for me to show you guys. You can get an idea of what it looks like, and it looks blooming awesome. It's a proper aggressive, like, oh, I love it. I love this little curve. And it's very thin, isn't it? It's a proper thin little stem. Look, can you see how thin that is? It's a very little thin stem. What do you reckon? It looks cool though, right? And we've managed to shed like 160 grams, so my bike is now much lighter. The plan was to always have this bike set up as a fast, racy, kind of like long distance gravel bike rather than a fun, like gnarly terrain gravel bike, and I'm slowly getting it the way I want it. I mean, now it is just like fine tuning. I mean, I'd like a carbon seat post. I mean, there's no real gain to that, just shed a bit of weight. But I figured now we've got like the carbon bars and the carbon stem, why not get a carbon seat post, you know, because then we're going to have like carbon, lots of carbon. So my plans of like fixing this bike, my yo-yo, like getting everything done, going out for a ride, all that stuff, as you guys well know, well, you know, something always goes wrong when you're building bikes, or something takes a bit longer, and that has been the case today. But we're 99% there, and that's close enough for me to be happy, and it's close enough for me to show you guys and go, what do you think? You know, do you think these carbon bars are going to snap on my first descent? Am I going to lose my teeth? Should I wear a full face helmet? Or do you trust the carbon? Honestly, I wouldn't be using it if I didn't trust it. Can't wait to ride it. This bike's going to be so fast, especially, check this out, when we put these 30mm Eagles on there. So this is the plan. I'm going to put these on, and then we're going to go and bomb down Haytor and try and set some PRs. So thank you to Yo-Yo, thank you to you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Bye!